he just didn't give a shit about being that egg.
Welcome to Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast, the show that sometimes just wants to sit back and relax. I'm your co-host, Melanie Gibson, and for this, I'm drinking another Coors Banquet from the 6-pack that I bought from our Cobra Kai episode. So wine does not last very long around me once I open the bottle, but I can stretch out a 6-pack for weeks because I'm just not a big beer drinker. So this is my drink of choice for the evening. And
I have no drink.
You have no drink.
That's fine.
You are wearing a cool-looking leather jacket, AJ Wall. Have to work your name in there somehow.
I guess so. I have no thematic reason for picking this jacket. It was just cold. So.
Yeah, and I just haven't worn this shirt in a long time, so I thought I'd put it on. Okay, what are we talking about for this episode?
Movies that were pretty good.
Yeah. So we decided instead of doing a play-by-play of a movie, we've just going to talk about some movies that we watched in January that we really like. And I think that's helpful for me because I cannot convey how much I hate winter. I hate this time of year so much. With the fiery path of the devil, I hate this time of year. So what has helped me get through January and hopefully through February has been having a nice fire in the fireplace going and watching some good movies on streaming. And we actually even went out to see a movie this weekend.
Which has been the first time
since F9.
Fast 9.
Yeah, Fast 9. That was the last time. Well, there really hasn't been anything worth going to the movie theater for.
We never put in a lot of time at the theater anyway. So.
It's expensive. This show's Small Town Redneck coming out. The movies were like $2.50 for years at the little 2-theater movie place in Snyder.
Yours only had 2 screens?
Yeah, it only had 2 screens.
Mine had 3.
Ooh. That's big time.
Cinema 3.
The old crappy seats and stuff. Yeah, it was... But it was good enough.
The last time I went to a movie in Mineral Wells was Incredibles 2. And before that, it was like years and years and years.
The last time I probably went to a movie in Snyder was when I was there up through high school. I don't know if I came back and saw one when I was in college or anything. So, yeah, it's a little different these days. So we're just going to go through a list of a couple of movies that we've seen on streaming and then one we saw in the theater, and those are ones that we recommend to you. And AJ has started his yawning.
Stick around to the end, because it's the most interesting film on the list, I think.
Ooh, okay. That may be debatable. The first one is Ron's Gone Wrong from 2021, and we watched this on Disney+.
It's also on HBO Max right now, so... Yeah, if you feel like it.
So, it's very cute. I liked it a lot. So
I thought it was going to be, like, silly but not very good. And it's sort of like, it's good, but a lot silly. I
really liked it. It's about this little robot. Everybody has this. It's the new gadget that all the kids want to have. It's called My Best Friend. And it's basically like... It's like your iPhone is a little robot. It knows everything about you. It has everything online. Of course, it says, hey, don't you want to buy this and stuff? And all the kids have them except this one kid who has a really hilarious Eastern European grandma who I really liked. Yeah. She probably makes stuffed cabbage like my mom used to make for me.
He gets his own robot that happens to maybe be like the robot version of Autistic.
He has a glitch. And he's voiced by Zach Galifianakis. And
trying way harder than he did in
Puss in Boots.
As the egg.
In Puss in Boots. That's another good animated one.
I can't believe he just didn't give a shit about being that egg.
He was Humpty Dumpty, I think.
He was the worst Humpty Dumpty ever.
Okay, so back to it. But Zach Galifianakis is good in this movie, and there's some drama and stuff, and peril, and it's about friendship, and it was really good. It was better than I expected it to be.
It had a little bit of weird messaging. Like, it's fine if you don't look into it, but if you think about it, it's kind of got, like, this huge, screw the company owner who's definitely, like, being way too intrusive, which, it's, in America, we know that they're listening to literally everything.
My phone's listening right now, all the devices.
And they can go to hell.
Oh, okay, something interesting about that. Can I... my phone started showing me videos of Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland after we went to see the Spider-Man movie.
See, they're everywhere. They're in your
God damn it.
They're in your kidneys. Like, they're that far in. But
anyway, sorry, I want to say that.
So on one hand, they're like, look how evil the corporation is, and Steve Jobs, basically. And then on the other hand, they're also kind of like, how about we make these devices really help people interact, even though they're still just using the devices instead of being people with other people.
They're still just interacting through. It's like a bunch of people standing around texting each other. So it's still really standing through. It's basically an iPhone with legs.
Except it has. Well, wait. It has feet and hands. It doesn't have legs.
Yes, because he hits people many times. It was good. It was cute.
It was somewhere between Big Hero 6 and Iron Giant. And even the main kid, he looks just like Hogarth, but made 3D.
The Iron Giant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that kid's name was freaking Hogarth.
Hogarth.
Yeah, I can't remember what the kid's name is in
Ron. No wonder he's a loser.
Anyway, but it was cute. I guess it's a Disney-owned property, but not a Disney movie that is decent. I could see kids, like, whenever they're old enough for this to be nostalgic, being nostalgic about it.
I think adults would like it too. It's really funny. So the second one, speaking of kids movies, is one I, as a Gen Xer, made AJ as a millennial watch, because this is from my childhood. The NeverEnding Story from 1984, which was produced by West Germans, showing you how old this is. Pre-Berlin Wall coming down movie. My brother and I loved this movie when I was a kid. I've read the book. I don't know if I've seen the second movie. I actually really like the book, but this movie's badass. I like it.
I was just vaguely aware of it and its 80s-ness and, like, it being in that generation of let's scare the shit out of kids movies and not apologize for it.
Kind of like some of the aesthetics looked like, well, it reminded me of Labyrinth, which came out later.
Oh my god, yeah. So many times they showed a thing or a creature and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? It had like 4 heads or 3 faces and I was like, what the fuck is that? And they just keep going and they never address these things.
I'm just sitting back jamming out to the theme song and AJ's like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck?
If
you're screaming as much as Baby Atreyu. But what about Fantasia?
Atreyu does scream a lot.
He screams a lot. Like Picture a Warrior.
Like, the kid's a really good actor.
He's whiny though.
But
I'm sorry your horse died.
Yeah, I get it with the horse. I got him screaming, but like every time the calm queen is like, "Don't you see? It's like this." And he's like, "How is it like that? How?"
He's screaming right in the Empress's face.
He's like, which I get it. There's like a existential earthquake of nothing.
I liked that. The nothing is kind
of freaky, terrifying,
and it's framed by a boy in
very
kind of
nihilistic.
the Muggle world. Well, that's German.
That was the thing that confused me, because I only knew about pieces of it, and I thought like the main kid was gonna be transported into the world. It reminded me of a better version of Warriors of Virtue, which was not a great movie, but it was still a thing that happened, and I remember because I owned it. But in that, the kid actually gets transported into a different world, so I was used to that sort of idea.
Yeah, or the Page Master, right?
Yeah, or Page Master. That's
so this one starts with a kid named Bastion, whose life kind of sucks. His dad wants him to be, tough and serious and join the football team, and his mom has died, and he gets bullied by kids at school, so he runs into a bookshop and kind of steals this book, and he hides at the school and reads the NeverEnding Story.
Like
and you
in
kind
the
of
attic,
find him,
and his dad just gets to hope that his son isn't abducted.
And as a kid, I didn't think about it like, oh, wouldn't that be cozy, tucked away with a book? Like, this is hours after school has closed. His dad thinks he's dead.
Probably.
We never get that closure with what is Bastion's dad doing.
Yeah, for real. And then, we'll talk about the whole.
And Bastion doesn't give a shit because he's riding Falcor at the end.
Yeah.
Falcor was cool. He was the chill ass luck dragon.
He was strange.
I liked him.
I liked him, but okay, he's got to be the inspiration for Jake the dog. Because he was just laughing about, like, literally the failure of existence.
He's smoking weed and just flying over Fantasia
He would totally eat a, what's it called? An existential sandwich or whatever. Sentient sandwich. Sentient sandwich.
Yes.
He would totally eat one of those.
And just laugh about it.
two random things. One, we realized this was probably the movie that was an accidental sexual awakening for some weird young men out there.
Oh yeah, because there are scenes with sphinxes and they have large women's breasts.
Like,
and so
very detailed.
And that's, it's fine. It's the human body. But this was a movie made for kids, and I bet there were a lot of 8-year-old, 9-year-old boys who were like getting their first...
I don't know why I like this, but I like this.
Yeah.
Like, weirdness.
Not all boys, but some of them.
For some, it was like Lola Bunny, probably, and for others, it was this.
Yep.
Both weird. But anyway, and also, I think I realized that if the 80s was a music, it would be German. The music in it.
Yeah.
The German synth music.
Yes.
Oh,
is that
my
why you're
God.
wearing the black leather jacket? Can you kind of have that you need like a cigarette. You look like the Beatles when they were in Hamburg,
God.
Germany in the late 50s, early 60s.
I don't want to be insinuated with anything.
No, that's
of the
before they
Beatles.
turned into a boy band.
I don't care.
They were drinking beer and doing all kinds of naughty things.
This kind of looks like something Bully Maguire, Spider-Man would wear. You haven't seen that?
No, I have not.
There's all the memes of they call him Bully Maguire or Bully Toby or Bully Spider-Man. Like when Toby Maguire had the black suit and he was being a dick. Like when I was a kid, we called him emo Peter. But now it's like Bully Peter, and it's always a meme of him just destroying somebody in a conversation. But this looks like something he would wear.
Okay. So the next movie is one we just watched, and that is Nobody from 2021, starring Bob Odenkirk.
It was so fun.
It was cool. Now, it felt very much like a John Wick movie. It was basically John Wick.
I don't know how I feel knowing that it wasn't a film made by the same people. I probably would have felt better.
Yeah, because it kind of follows, it's like, nice ho-hum guy, the wrong people mess with him, and then
turns out he has a past.
Yeah, all hell breaks loose, and he has special skills, and he will use them.
It's somewhere between Walter White and John Wick. Mm-hmm. Like, if you put them together, it's kind of exactly that.
Because he kind of has the middle-aged man frustration of Walter White, who's a family man, but he's gritting his teeth the whole time.
Yeah. And that's kind of it. And it even has a Russian mob story, which is John Wick.
John Wick.
Although the guy who made the movie, I believe, is he's Russian. He made a band or something. So, he can do that.
Yeah,
I guess.
And Bob Odenkirk was good. I enjoyed seeing somebody who wasn't... Bob Odenkirk is not an action star. He's a comedian.
No.
So, but he was awesome.
Yeah, he was really good in it.
He was good.
I didn't, have to think about it with him in it. I just was like, okay.
Okay,
cool.
You totally believe this character, and it was good.
He would know. He's worked with criminals for, much of his career.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of Walter White.
Yeah.
Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah.
The fourth one is one we just saw in the theaters this past weekend, and it was Spider-Man No Way Home, which for me basically was like Into the Spider-Verse, the in-person version, and the live-action version.
Kinda. Okay, I grew up on all the Tobey Spider-Man movies. In fact, the first one, I remember this, I got to see it. I didn't watch it in the theaters, I don't think, because I was pretty young. My family didn't take me to the theater. But anyway, so my grandmother was in the hospital before she went to rehab for something. I was pretty young, so I don't quite remember what it was. But her roommate, basically, for the time, they talked and became friends, and I'm sure my grandmother talked about me the whole time because she raised me. So that woman, I guess, told her daughter to buy me the movie. They gave me a VHS copy.
That's sweet.
Of Spider-Man.
That's really nice of them.
Oh, that's nice, but I thought it was gonna be I don't know, an animated thing or something, and it was the actual movie. I was like, oh shit, that's cool.
That was really nice of them to do that.
Yeah, they were very sweet. So I guess that's what started it. And yeah, so I saw those three. I saw the first Andrew Garfield one, which I thought was cool. Has one of the best Stan Lee cameos.
I have not seen it.
Which is all I can say. And then I watched not very much of the second one. I maybe didn't even see it. But I was aware of it. And then everyone at work bullied me into watching it. This one. So
yeah, he wanted to keep up with all his friends. So I'm not really a Spider-Man person. My brother and I played together all the time, so I knew all about the superheroes. We are a DC family. My niece's first toy for me is a Batman doll, and it is her favorite toy, so I've done my aunt duty for the rest of her life. So I'm much more into Batman and Superman, but I've always been aware of Spider-Man because my brother was into him too. But I'd only seen the Tobey Maguire movies, and I did see Into the Spider-Verse, which was incredible.
that movie is the shit.
And I will say, for this No Way Home, for a 2.5-hour movie, I wasn't bored at all. I really liked it.
Yeah, it went by really
I thought,
fast.
I was afraid it was going to drag, but it does not. And it's not like so action-packed that you don't get a break. There are some downtime moments, but I really enjoyed it. Did it have to be 2.5 hours long? Maybe not. But I loved it. And I think my favorite character, though, was Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, because he's just kind of a dick.
He's such a dick.
I don't know if it's him putting on an American accent or what, but he's like sarcastic and bored and tired. And it's just like, oh, just Scooby-Doo this
like,
shit.
no, Peter, that's not the way this works. This is the way it works. Like, but why is that? Shut up. Like, that's him the whole
like,
movie.
he'll do this amazing world-changing spell, and he's just like, oh, fuck, God damn it, I have to go to work today. So,
yeah, I was
he
like,
was
for
so
all the
funny. I
power
loved
he
him.
has,
Loved him.
This is all his fault. Like, for all the power he has, he's such a dick about it. And then he screws it up and blames everybody
Yeah,
else.
I was about to say it was Peter's fault. He blames Peter for it.
Yeah,
and Tom Holland is adorable. He's very cute as Peter Parker. I grew up with this Tobey Maguire one because he and I are about the same age, but I like Toby. I like Tom Holland.
I will probably always prefer Tobey Maguire. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because he seems like he seems the most like a superhero to me, like as the character. Because every time I see one of the other Spider-Man, I'm just like, how are you gonna fight these people? How are you gonna stand... Like, Toby, for some reason, I believe it.
Yeah, and without giving too much away, if you like the Tobey Maguire movies, you're going to like this one. You will not be disappointed.
Or Spider-Verse.
Or Spider-Verse,
all the stuff with all the Spider-Man being together was really cool. Like,
yeah,
all of that was fun.
And it was a different story. It's not necessarily fighting a villain as much as... I don't want to give too much away, but the villains come into play, but it's a very different take on how they interact with the villains.
If anyone listening to this or watching this is a fan of Avatar, like the first series, not Legend of Korra, and they like how Aang has to... Well, he didn't have to. He decided to find a way other than killing... Lord Ozai to win. It's kind of got that sort of feel. Kind
of, yeah. Willem Dafoe
is the shit.
He is Willem Dafoe. He is awesome. just show up, Willem. Yeah. Do your goblin voice.
Every time he's like, Peter.
Because at first, for a while, he's just Norman, and he's really nice, and he's kind of down on his luck, and he's like, you didn't think you could get rid of me, because, like, oh shit, he's back.
We had another one of those scenes where he's talking to the mask.
Yeah. And I kept thinking of him in the lighthouse.
Oh, God.
I don't know who's crazier, the Green Goblin or his character of Tom in the lighthouse.
What if he just walked by Peter and just farted in his face? Oh, like in the lighthouse.
Like in the lighthouse, just to drive him crazy. Okay. And speaking of that, we saw a preview for The Batman with Robert Pattinson, who was also in The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe, and it looks good.
It does look pretty good.
I'm a Batman person. We have to go see it.
It somehow, in a strange way, reminds me of the Tim Burton Batman, but not because it's similar, but because it's so stylized that it looks like its own kind of world.
But you know what would be awesome? If they played Kiss by a Rose by Seal on the closing credits, like in Batman Returns.
Yeah, well, DC would never, see an opportunity like that and actually take it. Marvel is the one that sees the good opportunities.
Yeah, Marvel
and takes
is
it.
Much more on the inside jokes and the meta-ness of it. So this was fun.
There's this joke that Toby is Toby Peter is hyping up Garfield Peter, and it has this funny, like, it's not subtle, but it's also subtle, like, reference to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies, and I loved it. It was so, like, it was really aggressive, but really fast, and it made me laugh so hard.
I didn't get it. He had to explain it to me because I haven't seen the Andrew Garfield movies.
And Matt Murdock is in it, which ties in the Netflix Daredevil, which I didn't watch, but I appreciate.
Yeah, so Spider-Man No Way Home, go see it in the theaters or wait for it to come on streaming or buy the DVD or something. It was a lot of fun. It really didn't feel like... It felt like 2.5 hours because it was a long-ass movie, but it was fun the whole way. It was really enjoyable. Okay, so the next one, on a very different note, this was... We watched Nobody's Spider-Man and this movie all in the same weekend. And this is Pig. Pig. A 2021 movie with Nicolas Cage.
I think this is the most interesting one.
Okay.
It's got the most interesting concept.
It does. So why don't you talk about the premise?
Nicolas Cage is an old, like, woods-bound, just loner, and he has a pig. And someone takes his pig.
Yeah, she's a truffle hunting pig, and she's the cutest pig.
It's a very adorable pig.
It's so cute. It like does the little.
It's all fuzzy.
It does little snorting noises. I want to pet it. I want to pet that pig.
The whole time, just.
But something really bad happens.
Yeah, some people steal the pig, and you just watch Nicolas Cage try to find his pig, and it sound like we watched it. We almost did an official episode on it because we thought we were getting Nicolas Cage insanity with like a John Wick not Wishmaster, what's the Death Wish type situation.
It's Taken with bacon.
Bacon Taken.
Bacon Taken.
We thought it was that.
Somebody took my pig.
But it's not. Like,
no.
That's kind of the setup, but it's not played like this man's gonna go.
It's not an action movie.
Shit out
no,
of
it has some actiony moment, but it's a quiet little indie movie, and Nicolas Cage is awesome, and he doesn't really talk that much. He'll give you the 1,000-yard death stare.
Yeah, and he has some cool like kind of speech conversations where he's trying to just put like it's trying to convey like why he is what he is now.
Yeah, which makes me, I mean, he is an Academy Award winner. It made me have more respect for him because it's a very quiet movie, and you learn very slowly over the course of the movie his backstory and how he kind of ends up where he ends up. And he doesn't overact. He just plays the role, and he's totally believable. So I'm like, Nicolas Cage, you're really aging well, like a fine wine.
I feel like he's a really good actor, but he does whatever he wants the way he wants, and he has to have the right role. I have liked seeing him, older Nicolas Cage, in some of the things I've seen him in lately. I do wish there was a little bit more, like, food enticing.
Yeah, because food is a big part of this.
Like, he's a well-trained chef.
Yes.
So that's part of the story, and it's, I don't know, it's a really interesting concept. It doesn't go in the way you assume it will.
No.
And even, like, there's some mysteries and stuff involved, but it's not, like, that big of a deal.
No, there are questions that go unanswered and things that aren't told that you're kind of wondering, but it's okay. I don't want to say much about the ending because I don't want to give it away, but it is impactful. That's all I'll say.
Oof.
And by the way, we watched this one on Hulu, and we watched Nobody on HBO, so I wanted to mention that we watched all of these except for Spider-Man on streaming services. So this was on Hulu, and we just were like sitting there like, I can't say anything or I'll cry. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Did we add another one to the list?
We did add another one to the list.
So it wasn't the last one. It was this one.
I was wondering why. Well, Pig was the most interesting one. I really...
want my pig.
I want my pig. I'm looking for my pig. We love you, Nicolas Cage, but we're still going to do impersonations of you.
The side tangent. For a man who has a natural drawl to his voice, I don't know why he can't do a correct Southern accent. Maybe he just never, like, bothered. Maybe it's not him. Maybe no one's ever given him a correct coach.
Told you to leave the bunny alone.
Yeah, the bunny.
The bunny.
Because
he sounds like Elvis Presley.
Every time you try to do his voice, you sound like you're trying to do a Southern drawl. But he can't quite.
Let's stick him in a Western with Robert Duvall and see who does a better Texas accent.
Oh, well, that's not even fair. We might as well claim Robert Duvall as a Texan.
Robert Duvall does better accents than we do.
Even though he's from California.
I don't know how the man does it. Anyway, so that's probably the one I recommend the most from this list. But the sixth one is one we watched as a palate cleanser because we were so kind of distraught after watching Pig that we found a movie called Stepsisters on Netflix, and we're still in the middle of watching it. It's a 2018 comedy, and at first we thought it was just going to be a dumb dance movie because we do love dance movies. And it's smarter than most of the dance movies are. The dialogue is really sharp and funny. It's about a college student who's in a sorority, and they do step, which is kind of a thing that black sororities and fraternities do. That's part of their culture. And so things happen where one of the girls in the sorority has to kind of help rehabilitate this white sorority because they got in big trouble and teach them to step dance. And they go into a competition. So the dialogue is funny. I like all the characters.
It's really funny. It's like,
very funny.
Everybody's acting fine. The only issue I have is it's just a little bit aggressive with the way, like, everyone deals with certain, like, race things. Like, at first I thought all the white people in this are, like, super, like, people from Get Out. Like, aggressively liberal cucks, I guess.
Woke to the point.
Which,
by the way, I don't want people to assume the wrong thing. Black Lives Matter. We totally stand behind that.
Yeah, we're totally liberals. But they were showing that, like, the type of liberals that would tell a black person they're not being correctly black.
Or they would say, if Obama had run for a third term, I would have voted for him.
Yeah, that shit.
That's kind of how her boyfriend is, her white boyfriend.
Yeah, there's several people that do similar-ish things like that. There's also the chick that plays Star. That's the voice of Star.
Yes.
That says some things that I do not agree with.
Yeah, but it's a funny movie. It was like we needed something funny to watch after watching Pig, which was kind of devastating at the end.
The dancing actually isn't that standout. Like, it's good, but it's not like...
That's not driving the story. Like, that's an element in it. That's kind of the pattern that they're following. That's the event that's going to happen.
In fact...
But it's not... I wouldn't even call this a dance movie.
This is one of the... Well, I think it's still got enough to call it a dance movie, but... In a way, it's not perfect. I think they could have executed better, but it's got one of, like, the better intentions of a dance movie. Like,
because
there's an actual story behind the dance movie part.
Most dance movies are kind of like fight movies, where there's barely a script just to show
boxes sort of stuff.
Just to show a little bit of character development, a little bit of conflict, but you either want to see the fighting or you want to see the dancing. I will say, Boyka Undisputed, the fourth Boyka movie, had more of a storyline to it, so...
I mean, yeah.
It's funny that the third one was called Redemption and the fourth one was called Undisputed. The Boyka movies.
Okay.
I'm going on a different topic.
I mean, they're all undisputed.
Yes.
But anyway.
We did an episode on the first Undisputed movie, by the way, if you want to see that.
That movie was interesting.
Stepsisters, again, it's funny. It's worth watching if you just like a good comedy, a good smart comedy.
Yeah. It's like you said, it was a palate cleanser. It was... Mm-hmm. It's not going on... I don't think it's going on anybody's favorite list, but it's just a fun movie.
And that's it.
Yeah. So... Anyway.
Okay, out of this list, what do you recommend?
I think because I want to support the fact that this movie was created. I'm gonna say Pig.
Okay.
Because it's different, and this is like, okay. Movies are so oversaturated and there's like very little consistency in anybody caring if it's good or not. Like, I hate to be that person like, oh, back in the day, but okay, have you ever just sat around and watched old movies? They're almost always like really good. It in one way or another, whether it's the acting or the stories or whatever. Old Twilight Zone, like people used to really care about the story that they told and the way they told it, and Pig is one of those. Like, it had a very interesting idea, and I thought it was like about as good as you could do with that idea.
Yeah, I really wanted to see where they would go with it. My second choice would be Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. It's kind of along the same. They're both kind of revenge movies, not sort of revenge, sort of man on a quest. It probably all goes back to Death Wish with Charles Bronson.
That's a hard pick on a second choice, because the rest of them are kind of like fun popcorn-y type movies. I might say Spider-Man just because, like, Marvel finally, a comic book movie finally went with a storyline that the fans have probably wanted to watch for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't super mainstream, but like everybody wanted to see it. And it kind of actually annoys me that they waited until after Into the Spider-Verse existed, and it did really well. And then they were like, oh, well, I guess we'll do that too. Like, I kind of hate that.
And I will say, as somebody who's not as much into the Marvel movies, it does help to have seen Into the Spider-Verse, because you kind of get the whole Spider-Man multiverse thing, or you're in the mood for that when you watch No Way Home.
Yeah. Because I didn't see any of the Tom Holland stuff. I didn't see Doctor Strange, and he's a big part of it. Like, but it was really good. And you get all three Spider-Men. That's like a special thing. So
yeah, and lots of villains.
I guess go out and brave the pandemic and watch Spider-Man.
Yeah, we were in a mostly empty theater, so that's how we like to watch movies if we're not doing that at home. So what's on the horizon for February?
Oh no, I don't.
Have
we thought of
Well, I mean, we could do, like, romance movies and rom-coms and stuff, and the problem is I hate those movies. I hate those. I even wrote about it in my memoir how much I hate rom-coms.
Oh, that might...
So there might be some juicy hate watching.
It's going to be a fun quest, then. We're going to have to find something.
Gross. I'd rather just watch Boyka movies.
I mean...
So, okay, so anything else?
Like, follow, subscribe, comment... shove this in somebody's face, listen with your ear holes on Spotify and Anchor and iTunes. That's all. Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Join us on our Instagram and tell us what movies you want us to cover. Yeah, we haven't gotten a lot of those yet. People start giving us your opinions that we don't care about. Hey, we do care about your opinions. Dance movies. We haven't done any dance movies. This is true. This is very true. Okay, so we just wanted to do a special... I still have some beer left. Yay. Yeah, we just wanted to do a not bitching about a movie episode, so... And then we'll get back to bitching. This is it. Okay, so cheers. Enjoy the rest of your January. Watch some good movies. Bye. Be my victim.